I think what we have left to do in the class is, like I told you, we're going to read Isaiah. Not all of it, obviously. We're going to do the other minor prophets like Micah, and then we're going to read Ezekiel. So if we have time left after that, we'll discuss, maybe we'll do something else. But could always go back and take a look at the Samuel books, but those are very complicated, as I told you. So we were doing Hosea last time, and as I recall, do you remember if we got all the way through it or we left off at some point?
Yeah.
We went through it. Yeah, we went through it. We went through it, okay. Well, he basically parallels Amos, and he's being written at a time when the Assyrians haven't come yet. That's pretty clear. So I think you can say these are probably pretty historical in their, present state. I don't think they've been rewritten to any great degree. Now, there's a problem with Micah, because Micah really doesn't look like it's a real piece of literature or work, because it overlaps Isaiah to some extent. And in fact, it has one of the same lines. So when you get books that have the same line, you kind of wonder which one had it first. And, because we always think the line that they shall beat their swords into plowshares, their spears into pruning hooks, which is a very famous line from Isaiah. And yet Micah has the same line. So you kind of, it leaves you sort of wondering which came first, Micah or Hosea. Are they really different? We'll see in Isaiah, you can't really trust the ascription to who the person actually is. But let's look at this. Michael of Moreshet, in the time of Jotam, Ahaz, Hezekiah, kings of Judah. Isaiah, in the time of Uzziah, Jotam, Ahaz, Hezekiah, kings of Judah. So basically it's almost the exact same period. He just throws in another king, Uzziah. Say, who are these kings? Well, you have to go to the book of Kings, and I don't think you'll discover very much there, just a few lines or something. And usually, and he did what pleased the Lord, or he didn't do what pleased the Lord. And that's, to a certain extent, what you get there. But let's look at Micah, and then we'll go back and look at Isaiah. Once again, the thing that jumps out at one is the fact that the prophets seem to really have a negative attitude towards the northern kingdom. So you can see that people think that, oh, it's just the whole of Israel. In Micah, maybe it's not as clear cut, and it wasn't totally clear cut in Hosea, but on the whole, it was the north that came in for the clear admonition and condemnation, and Amos is certainly that way. So let's see how Micah handles this theme. Other than that, these are all parallel works. There's nothing really new that you can say about them, one as opposed to the other, unless you like the poetry. Now, first of all, notice this, same symbolism, line 5. Because of the crime of Jacob, the sin of the house of Israel. And what is the crime of Jacob? Samaria. Well, you see, you maybe are not familiar with what Samaria is. I don't know if you have maps in the back of your Bible, but if you look at some point, if you read the book of Kings or Chronicles, you'll see that the capital moved from the city of Shechem in the north, I'm talking about the northern capital, a little bit further along to what they call Samaria, which is the name of the whole place. Can you see Samaria on that map there? Let's see what you've got. My maps have fallen out. Let me see your maps there. Let's see. My stalwart. Okay, so let's see. There's Samaria here, and there's Shechem below it. Samaria, Shechem, and then down here someplace further down is Benjamin, Jerusalem, and so on. So Samaria looks like it's far away from Shechem. They're both in the, as you see, you have some shadows on this map, so you can see that it's in the highlands. Shadows in the map on that particular Bible show you that it's hill country. And of course, where there aren't any shadows, of course, you're not in hill country. So it's pretty plainly hill country. Can you tell them? I'm looking for one of these things to draw on the board with, which probably is the only thing I probably forgot. Let's see if I can find it here. Right in there. Great. I've got everything but the pen here. Here's one. If it'll work. So, this one's going to be no good, but you might get some life out of it. So the hill country is here. Jerusalem is in the middle of the hill country going down to Hebron. And then Bethel is here, as we've said. They're all along the spine here. Why are they here? Because it's protective. And, you know, the people in the plains can't come up and get them. But it also means it's more primitive because they don't have the riches, the agriculture, the industrial development, whatever might have been. It's just hill country sort of thing, which would be flocks and olive trees. That's basically all they will have had up there. They wouldn't have had any, you know, it's like going up to Scotland in England. You know, Scotland is hill country, so the Romans built a wall to keep them out. So Scotland is, you know, much more primitive always than England, much less densely populated. So somehow these people developed an ethos, and these other areas they couldn't control. And so this is Shechem here, and then this is Samaria. See, since this is all very vivid to me because, you know, I've driven